Honorable members, let's pray. Almighty God, we humbly beseech thee to look with favor upon this Parliament of the Republic of Ghana. Grant that it may perform its high duty as in thy sight. Give divine guidance to the President of the Republic. Endow members of Parliament and ministers of state with discernment and vision, integrity and courage, that through the labors of government, this land and people may be well and truly served, and thy good purposes for the common human life be realized in our midst. Amen. O God, grant us a vision of our country, fair as it might be, a country of righteousness, where none shall wrong his neighbor, a country of plenty, where evil and poverty shall be done away with, a country of brotherhood, where all success shall be founded on service, and honor shall be given to the deserving, a country of peace, where government shall rest on the will of the people and the love for the common good. Bless the efforts of those who struggle to make this vision a living reality. Inspire and strengthen our people, that they may give time, thought, and sacrifice to speed the day of the coming beauty of Ghana and Africa. Amen. Majority Leader.
Speaker, we do have the order paper before us, which is quite loaded with items set out to be transacted today. Speaker, I've been sounded by the Honourable Ranking Member for the Committee on Youth and Sports, who tapped my shoulder to indicate that, given the performance of Black Stars yesterday, he thinks that we should have a statement made in the House. And I agree with him. The same person has a program to attend in the constituency. And so, Speaker, if you don't mind, I want to seek your leave and come under Order 53.2, that we alter the order of business as set out on the order paper to enable an on the spur of the moment statement to be made by a member in the House. I thank you.
Minority from bench.
Mr. Speaker, I don't have the honor of participating in discussions at conclave, but certainly, as leader, I'm requested there's no objection if it finds favor with you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honourable members, we will accordingly vary the order of business as stated on the order paper for today and move to item 7, which is statements, to enable the honourable member for South Tong to present a statement to the House. Yes, honourable member, you may do so now.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make this urgent public statement in congratulating the gallant Black Stars, even in defeat, for being able to hold their opponent, the Portugal team, to a 3-2 scoreline. That's 3 for Portugal and 2 for Ghana. Mr. Speaker, with a very questionable penalty granted against the Stars by the American referee, gave the Portuguese a goal ahead of the Stars. Mr. Speaker, this could have dampened the spirit and morale of the Black Stars. However, it spurred them on. It took the challenge, rose to the occasion, wrote all the odds, and played their heart out. And that gave that neat goal by the skipper of the side, Dede Ayew. Mr. Speaker, with this now behind us, it's my wish the technical bench will do the needful so we approach the other games with all it takes to snatch the points in order to advance to the other stages of the tournament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable members, I'm guided by leadership to take 2 from each side of the political divide. And so, my right hand, yes, former chairman of the Committee on Youth and Sports, former Minister of Youth and Sports. Now, I don't know which committee you chair. Ranking member. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the statement even made by my colleague. Mr. Speaker, the Black Stars yesterday indeed put up a sterling performance for Africa and for Ghana, or for blacks across the world. Mr. Speaker, the game demonstrated all the 3 departments of football. Solid defense, we saw it. Very solid defense. A very effective, strong midfield, we saw it for the Black Stars. And quite piercing attacking machinery was also demonstrated yesterday.
Yes.
So all the 3 departments of the game were exhibited yesterday. So I was happy about that. And Mr. Speaker, I think football is about fairness. The game must exhibit that sense of unity, purposeless. Mr. Speaker, yesterday officiating was quite questionable. When you spend so much on a tournament, we invest so much on a tournament like this, and when you go there, the team affects so much, Mr. Speaker. Then, what is it that we are doing to ourselves? That each country spends so much in order to have a fair game. A game that refereeing will be on point, that refereeing will be acceptable to all of us. But when you go and a decision is taken against you, and affects your progress, I think that's where all of us are worried about what happened yesterday. Officiating once again has come to question. And I would rather urge the Black Stars to do more concentration on their field of play. Yesterday, it was as if they gave too much respect to the Portuguese in the first half. I said they gave too much respect to the Portuguese in the first half. When they came to the second half and then they put up what is in the Black Stars, we also the difference. So going forward, next 2 matches, we urge the Black Stars to know that, as one Nelson once said, that bring your mother as a referee, I will still beat you. Yes. Bring your sister as a referee, I will still beat you. That should be on the mindset of the Black Stars. That whoever does the referee, we shall beat them. That's it. So please, I think, and I'm happy that they are doing the needful. They are protesting to FIFA. But what happened yesterday? FIFA should listen. Because when it comes to developing world like Ghana, instead of our skills, our talents, and we are cheated by decisions, I don't think going forward, FIFA will have that kind of respect and recognition that the world grants them. So we need fairness in the game. The next two matches, the refereeing, the officiating should be on point. It should be fair to all of us, so that Ghana indeed can progress and progress well. Mr. Speaker, what I also saw yesterday was so marvelous that the fans were there in their numbers. Yes, the fans were there in their numbers. They sang throughout, gave the moral support throughout to the team. We expect the fans to do more because moral support is always important. I said here one day, when I was ranking over that, when I used to play for my team at Achiman-Ponwa, Kano Stars. Speaker, there was one song they used to sing for me that I enjoyed so much. I sang here when Madam Speaker was there. We be saying me found you not to form, found you not to form. Messi just yama oh. We be saying me found you not to form, found you not to form. Messi just yama. This is what motivates players. When the fan is there, they give out their best. So please give them the fans, support them, all the songs, and they do their best. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable B.T. Baba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me also add my voice to the statement made by the ranking member for Youth, Sports and Culture. Mr. Speaker, it is obvious that our hearts are broken because of the unfortunate decision by the referee to award a penalty which was faked by the almighty Ronaldo, finding the Black Stars to be a formidable team. Mr. Speaker, our players displayed a high sense of sportsmanship and took everything on its strides and were able to equalize through a beautiful goal scored by a very young talent who is just being exposed for the first time in the World Cup. Mr. Speaker, I believe that we have a very young, talented squad, and by statistics, averagely, the Black Stars are the youngest crop of players to be assembled at the World Cup. This should give us the hope that we have a team for the future. So I want to urge the players and the technical handlers that they should put this defeat behind them and for them to look forward for the next two matches, which are very crucial for our qualification. And I believe with determination and high sense of technical performance by both players and the coaches, the Black Stars should be able to qualify for the next stage. Mr. Speaker, there is no doubt that the match or the World Cup as we are witnessing now has united this nation. And that is all what sports is about. Sports is to promote national unity and integration. Let us see that this should be the beginning for things to change in this country, that we should work together as one nation, one people with a common destiny. Mr. Speaker, with these few words, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to contribute to the statement. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yay. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me...
I was wondering whether the young honorable lady standing over there was on her feet to contribute. Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to contribute to the statement, and in doing so to comment the maker of the statement, the Honorable Ranking Member for Youth and Sports, the Honorable Wyoming, for his courage. In association football, Mr. Speaker, the right thing to do is to congratulate Portugal as winners, undeservedly. They don't deserve the victory because we're robbed of our victory, Mr. Speaker, by poor officiating, not just the penalty which was awarded in favor of Ronaldo, but even the second goal of Portugal, as VAR subsequently revealed, was a kind of offside goal, if you observe it. But it was not confirmed. It was a kind of offside goal, Mr. Speaker. So it means Portugal got two unmeritorious goals, the penalty kick and the second goal. But Mr. Speaker, our technical team needs to appreciate two important things. Concentration. Our players lost concentration. If you notice where they picked up the balls, just between the changes, then they were with the ball to the net. In my view, the coach didn't need to do any changes. That's my view. As somebody observed, there are many coaches in Ghana. My view is that Coach Otuado didn't need to make any changes. But one can understand that he panicked because of the yellow cards that were given to Asedu and to Kudus, who was a driver of the Ghanaian team. I'm sure he tried preparing them for the next match, and out of it panicked and undertook those changes. That caused us the second goal because Jordan Ayew was not settled, and therefore they just got the ball from him and then they managed to put it into the net. So, Mr. Speaker, they need concentration, then discipline. Mr. Speaker, again, you observe that our players didn't go for 50-50 ball chances. All the balls, they will pass, he's waiting for it. Doing what? I think that we need to strengthen it. But my view is that we need to commend the Black Stars for the courageous bravery and talent of football that they showcase. And as the Honorable Esiamo observed, Mr. Speaker, would have been celebrating as the first African team, not just scoring a goal, but winning a match. And therefore, the challenge is to be able to beat South Korea and Uruguay to advance to the next stage. And I believe that the Black Stars would have been better settled to do us the honors of making sure that the cup gets to Ghana. So far, so good. We need to commend government. Except that, again, government, some of the reports we are getting, if the Minister for Youth and Sports is here, some of the supporters who got into Qatar yesterday got stranded. Some of them had problems with accommodation. Some even went to the stadium without tickets, even though they were assured that they will be given tickets and others. That shouldn't happen. So the support base could have been much more stronger if those administrative bottlenecks were not. I'm not blaming anybody. I won't know what occasioned it. But I have credible report that some of our supporters could not make it to the stadium because their tickets didn't get to them on time or just didn't get to them. And hotel accommodation, Mr. Speaker, is still a problem in Qatar because of the smallness of the town and the fact that people have had to put up in areas that otherwise they would not want to do. So, Mr. Speaker, once again, we commend the gallant Black Stars. The country is still united and standing strong behind them to bring us the laurels of gold, which would be to advance to the next stage and make sure that they bring the cup home. It was encouraging to see the president interact with our players. That's the best motivation they could get. I'm sure he would have whispered some assurance to them what the country would have done for them if they were able to win the first, second, advancing into the next stage. And Mr. Speaker, again, to commend the Black Stars leadership, Dede Ayew, for showcasing the smoke that you wore so beautifully yesterday. My understanding from what I've read is that when they were entering Qatar, all of them dressed gallantly as Ghanaians, showcasing a made in Ghana product of a smoke. We should encourage the use of it. So, Mr. Speaker, probably as you do parliamentary diplomacy, we now have sports diplomacy. how we do it probably, we all could learn to see how we use football, which unites this country. But Mr. Speaker, we can be very, very proud of the performance of the Black Stars, and we should encourage them. If they are able to win their next 2 matches, we still have the opportunity to qualify to the next stage. So all the best to the gallant Black Stars. And then those other administrative issues, the Honourable Minister for Youth and Sports and the leadership of the GFA must urgently move in to support Ghanaian citizens and supporters in Qatar who are kind of stranded and have some difficulties with accommodation and related matters accessing the soccer stadium. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Speaker, let me also commend the maker of the statement for this, on the spur of the moment, encouragement to the Black Stars. Speaker, we must congratulate the team for the quality of game and indeed for the sheer bravado that they displayed yesterday. The first half display indicated that we have a very gritty defense, and indeed they were able to soak all the pressure that Portugal unleashed on them. The second half was very explosive, 5 goals in just 1 half. Mr. Speaker, perhaps is the best second half display or second half performance thus far in the World Cup tournament. The penalty awarded to Portugal was indeed questionable, and if we are to be blunt, most undeserved. Ghana indeed lost to the referee and not to Portugal. We lost to the referee, not to Portugal. Mr. Speaker, in such instances, the VAR, the video assisted referee, will be resorted to. Who were manning the VAR system such that the referee was not prompted? Because clearly the 2 players went for the ball and they touched, the 2 feet from the 2 players touched the ball almost at the same time. There was no tangle. So how come did the referee whistle for a penalty against Black Stars and the people manning the VAR system did not prompt the referee? Who were the people who were manning the VAR system? Or was it a conspiracy against Africa? The Speaker, the temptation to arrive at this conclusion really is there for everybody. And the referee, having whistled, pointed immediately to it. The captain of our Black Stars rushed to him to complain, to avail himself of it. He refused. Was it a conspiracy against Africa? The Speaker, I think that is something that we must stand by, protest against the refereeing, such that this referee should not accorded any space to further what injustice that he inflicted on the Black Stars. Again, the Speaker, the minority leader has spoken to the inspiration provided by the President. I think it was very timeless. We must commend it. And those other deficits, the administrative deficits, should be attended to in respect of the supporters who went there. Mr. Speaker, I part ways with the minority leader when he says that changes ought not to have been effected. I believe that changes ought to have been effected. I'm speaking for myself. Of course, the coach is the person who makes the final determination. But speaking for myself, I think that until he scored the goal, the captain himself had been reduced to a passenger. I would think that giving the role of Kudus as the Lone Ranger up front, if he had the younger brother of Ayo, who would have been harassing his swifter, been harassing the defense, and then causing the balls to break to Kudus, who was firing from all angles, but he was a Lone Ranger. So I think that Ayo, the captain, should be playing the role of Roger Miller, and the junior brother should be the person to be starting. Mr. Speaker, If we do that, then Ghana will be in a better position to be scoring. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, concentration and discipline certainly are required on the part of the players, because whilst we're in the mood of celebrating, the ball slipped and then the second goal got scored. But the second goal, as has been shown by the VAR itself, was questionable. The man was about a foot offside, and that goal ought not to have been allowed. So it was a huge injustice to us, and I think that the worst result ought to have been a drawn game, and that would even have saved the head of Portugal. Indeed, in tactics, we had shown them in tactical play. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe we can advance. My only slight worry has to do with the release of balls from the goalkeeper. Mr. Speaker, at a point we all have our hearts in our mouth. When we release the balls to the defense players, who are not really gifted to hanging on the ball for quite a long time, and then the balls will be taken away from them. I don't know why they were doing that. The goalkeeper should now advance to, releasing the ball to the midfield, not to the defense. Mr. Speaker, we should know that the Koreans are swifter than the Portuguese. If they take the ball from us in our own 18 yards, Mr. Speaker, disaster may strike. We need to encourage the goalkeeper to release the balls further upfield, not in the box of the defense. Mr. Speaker, we must wish them well. I hope to God that we'll be able to advance further. I think that we will be able to advance. We should be able to beat Korea, and also as for Uruguay, Mr. Speaker, we should be able to take them to the slaughterhouse and slaughter them. They are an aging team. Uruguay, they are an aging team. We should be able to beat them and advance to the next stage. Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Honourable members, I can only thank you for joining me to celebrate our gallant Black Stars. I did state yesterday that we will be meeting here today to celebrate them, and I'm happy the Honourable Member for South Tong has set the ball rolling, and you have clearly demonstrated the not just patriotism, but the spirit, the undying spirit of the Ghanaian, that fiery spirit that will see us through the tournament. It is true that the Black Stars won the match, but lost the referee. That is true. We had some technical challenges. That is also true. But in spite of those technical challenges, we won the match, but we lost the points. Ghana again won another first. Yesterday, I drew attention to the first we won. For the fourth time, we fielded the youngest team. That is a first. Again, the first African team to score at this year's FIFA football tournament. Not just a goal, but 2 goals. That's another first. And the whole of Africa was celebrating with us. And what we just stated is what is being discussed, not only in Africa, in the whole world. We really won the match. And I think that our technical team will take and do the necessary thing for this not to be repeated. Clearly, from the statement that you made, Ghana abounds with so many coaches that we always have to look within. We are self-reliant. We don't have to look outside to get coaches. Even in Parliament, we have so many coaches here. And they have demonstrated it, one by one, ended by the majority leader himself. We have so many coaches here, but truly the technical challenges were also very manifest. And it's important, we'll tell the technical team to go all out. There is no team that is better than the Ghana team at this tournament. And so that kind of respect that was given to them was totally undeserving. It was undeserving. And I think that the next match, they should go all out. I assure them that we are with them, soul and body. And we do all we can to make sure that we advance further than we have ever done. The highest was at South Africa. We'll go beyond that. And as I keep on saying, what God cannot do does not exist. And I'm sure we'll win the match. I thank you so much. I've just been informed that another member has a very urgent statement to make. A copy has been passed on to me, and the statement stands in the name of the Honorable Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Honorable Mavis Howard Kumsin. I think you can make your statement now. It's a statement, so she can make it where she is now. Please, this is not part of the duty of a deputy majority leader. Honorable Minister, just make your statement where you are.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to make a statement on the occasion of celebration of World Fisheries Day. Mr. Speaker, the United Nations has set aside 21st November of every year to celebrate World Fisheries Day. In addition, the UN General Assembly declared 2022 as the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. That's IFA 2022. The purpose of the celebration is to recognize the contribution of the fisheries and aquaculture sector to food and nutritional security, and also highlight the challenges confronting the sector. Member states of the United Nations have earmarked on activities in the week of 21st November 2022 to commemorate World Fisheries Day. Mr. Speaker, in Ghana, my ministry has organized the National Fish Festival on 24th and 25th November 2022 at the Independence Square to commemorate the occasion. The theme for the festival is promoting sustainable fisheries and aquaculture for national development. Mr. Speaker, the fisheries and aquaculture sector has the potential to contribute significantly to national development if the fisheries resources are managed sustainably. It is estimated that over 3 million people are employed along the fisheries and aquaculture value chain in Ghana. Fish production from capture fisheries and aquaculture in 2021 was 628,623 metric tons, and this contributes significantly to national food security. The per capita consumption of fish in Ghana is 25 kilograms, which is higher than the average of 13 kilograms for the West African region. On the average On the average, Ghana earns over $200 million in foreign exchange from exports of fish and fishery products. It is estimated that the sector contributes about 0.9% of the GDP. Mr. Speaker, the aforementioned benefits will be eroded if measures are not put in place to sustainably manage the fisheries and agriculture sector. In recent times, the fisheries resources have been overexploited, and there are signs of depletion of some fish species. Several factors have been identified as the cause of the current state of affairs of the fisheries sector. Notably, among them are inadequacy in the legal framework, weaknesses in monitoring, control, and surveillance, destruction of marine habitats include mangroves, climate change, marine pollution, and plastic waste, fishery pressure, and illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. In the agriculture, high cost of feed, low investment of farmed fish species, and outbreak of diseases in fish farms. Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to suggest House measures put in place by my ministry to tackle the challenges and improve the status of fisheries and aquaculture in the country. These are: a new fisheries and agriculture policy has been prepared and cabinet on the 11th has been prepared on the 6th October 2022 grant approval for its implementation. The new policy has 11 thematic areas, which include environment and climate change, agriculture infrastructure, lagoon, fisheries and research, and innovation. The new policy will, among others, be the basis for a new Fisheries Act. Cabinet on the 6th October 2022 granted approval for preparation of a new Fisheries Act to replace the current Fisheries Act 2002, Act 625. The new Fisheries Act will address the inadequacies in the current Act and incorporate relevant international instruments for which Ghana is a signatory. Drafting instructions are being prepared with assistance from FAO. A new national plan of action to combat IUU 2021 to 2025 has been prepared and deposited with the FAO in line with the international plan of action to combat IUU. Some of the actions being implemented is putting observers on vessels for sea trips and at ports and sea inspections. Reactivation of the vessel monitoring system and automatic identification system for monitoring of fisheries activities of industrial trawlers.
Honourable Minister, may you conclude? If you don't know how,
Mr. Speaker,
I will tell you how.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. In conclusion, a ministerial directive on gear specification was issued, effective September 2022, for compliance by all industrial trawlers, and the measures reduces opening of trawler gear and also reduces the quantity of juvenile fishes caught. My ministry, in collaboration with the International Finance Corporation of the World Bank, organized the Aquaculture Investment Forum for stakeholders to sensitize fish farmers on how to source for funding. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, honorable members, any comments? Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, before the comments come, may I, Mr. Speaker, with your leave, seek again your leave for the Honorable Minister to apply for Hansard to capture the statement as though same was read viva voce in extenso, because you directed that she should conclude. So, Mr. Speaker, if it pleases you, she may want to apply.
Yes, leave granted.
Yes. Mr. Speaker, I may want to apply on their behalf. Mr. Speaker, I may want to apply on their behalf since she has taken.
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, in view of the position taken, I hereby apply that the statement read by the Honorable Minister be captured by Hansard and read in extenso by her. Thank you.
Yes. It was read in extenso, and it should be so captured in its totality by the Hansard Department of Parliament. Honorable members, comments. Let me listen to the ranking member.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to comment on the statement read by the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture. Mr. Speaker, it is important for all of us to contribute towards the management of our fishery resources, because it is a major source of food and it also employs about 10% of the Ghanaian population. Mr. Speaker, as the Minister rightly stated, fish consumption in Ghana is estimated around 25 kilograms per head, which is far above the West African average of 1.3 or 13 kilograms per head. And so there's the need for us to increase fish production in order to meet the increasing demand of our nation. Unfortunately, our fish production is far below our demand, and we spend a lot of money on the importation of fish to support what is produced locally. When you come to tuna production, Mr. Speaker, Ghana is the first in Africa, the largest producer of tuna in Africa, and the fourth globally. Unfortunately, because of our inability to manage the resources effectively, Ghana has been issued the second yellow card by the European Union. Mr. Speaker, the meaning is that if we are not careful, seafood from Ghana will not be allowed to enter the European market. That underlines the need for all of us to come together to roll out mechanisms to manage our resources effectively. Mr. Speaker, the maker of the statement mentioned close season as part of the measures to protect the juvenile fish. Mr. Speaker, close seasons are very, very important. But in recent times, because the management of fisheries is anchored on research, you don't impose a moratorium on the entire fishing space, but you do research to locate the spawning points and then restrict access to those areas so that fishermen will not be allowed to fish in those areas during times of spawning. In our case, we do not have the research vessel, and therefore we are incapacitated in terms of our ability to research into these areas and to identify these spawning areas. Mr. Speaker, I recall somewhere in 2018, His Excellency the President made a promise to procure for this nation a research vessel. And the Minister also assured us at the committee level that plans were far advanced to get the research vessel procured. We think that it is an important intervention that must be made with all speed. Then, Mr. Speaker, we must also look at how we can protect the juvenile fish by looking at the gear policy. I agree with the Minister that the directive has been issued, but we have to be specific. What type of gear are we supposed to use? Because we need to use that type of gear that can protect the juveniles and ensure that only the mature fish is captured. Unfortunately, that is the difficulty we have. Because we don't have the policy, the fishers are allowed to use their own gears, and that also affects the protection of the juveniles. Another area that we need to look at critically is the recruitment of observers. The Fisheries Act provides that observers must be recruited by government. They are supposed to be government employees to monitor the activities of these fishers and then report to the ministry whether they are complying with the regulations or they are infringing upon them. Unfortunately, in practice, government is not recruiting the observers, but the ministry has some kind of arrangement with the fishers, under which they recruit the observers. So if you have a situation where the fishers are paying for those who are supposed to monitor them, obviously they are compromised already, and that will affect the entire monitoring process. And so there is the need for us to ensure that the law works. We implement what is contained in the law. And then we also have to deal with the issue of plastics. It's unfortunate that when they haul the nets and then they pull them, they have the impression that, oh, we have gotten a very heavy catch. But when they go through, 85% of their catch will be plastic waste. The dumping of plastic in our waters must stop immediately, and the ministry must roll out mechanisms to stop this. It is seriously affecting us. Another area that we must also look at is monitoring and supervision. Several pirate cases, pirate attacks on our waters, and they complain that our waters are no longer safe. It is just because we don't have enough resources to monitor these waters. So, Speaker, fisheries constitutes an important source of revenue to every nation, and we have to make available resources to make sure that we make the waters secure. Another important point has to do with the artisanal fisheries. That is where sustainability is most important. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, our water space is fully occupied beyond what has been provided. We have more than 14,000 canoes. Meanwhile, the scientists argue that our water space is able to carry just 9,000 canoes. And we don't have the political will to reduce the number. And this is seriously having a toll, a debilitating effect on our fishery resources. And that is why we have exhausted some of the species that we have in our waters. And this has been a concern to the international community, and we must be worried about it. Because when you talk about sustainability, we are talking about implementing policies that will ensure that those of us living today will enjoy from those resources, and then also protect it for generations unborn to come and benefit. But it appears that our generation is consumed with greed, and we are consuming everything without thinking about the upcoming generation. And that is something we must look at. Once you are bent on protecting the resource, you must demonstrate that political will to roll out mechanisms to sanitize. If the number is above what is required, Minister, act now. You cannot come and talk about policies. Yes, we have had several of these programs, but yet we are unable to achieve our targets. And whenever we engage our colleagues in other countries, the impression is created that we are not doing well in this country. But we are endowed with the resources. The only challenge we have is our inability to manage it as expected of us. On this note, it is important that we set aside this day and then celebrate. But it's a day for us to brainstorm and to come out with policies that will arrest the situation and restore the value of our fishery resources. On this note, Mr. Speaker, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Honorable members, may you, with your kind indulgence, let us move on to the order of business. We have a lot of questions today, and I think what the ranking member and the minister has done is enough to recognize the day. So we'll move on to item 4, so that we can now deal with correction of votes and proceedings and official reports. We will start with the correction of votes and proceedings of Thursday, 24th November 2022, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, page 6, page 7, page 8, page 9, page 10. Yes, honorable member.
I'm most grateful, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, at page 10, after the statement on the Black Stars match with Portugal at the World Cup in Qatar, you also made a statement, but that does not find expression. I thought that, as is the usual practice, they will have summarized your statement and exhortation to the House and the Ghanaian people, but that does not find expression at all. And also at page 10, Mr. Speaker, in the correct order, the presentation of papers happened after the budget statement. So I thought that we will have captured it in that chronology, in that proper chronology. But that's not what we have here at page 10. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable member, you are right. Table office, please. You have to stop this cut and pasting. Yesterday, even the guide you gave me was rather calling on the majority leader to present the budget. Please, be more meticulous than that. The presentation yesterday was not as captured on the votes and proceedings. And I, on behalf of the House, sent a very strong message to the Ghana Black Stars, which have been captured. That represented the position of the House. That too has not been captured. So please make sure that is done. Honorable member, thanks so much. Page 11. Page 12. Page 13. Page 14. Page 15. Page 16. Page 17. Page 18. Page 19. Page 20. Page 21. Page 22. Page 23. Honorable members, in the absence of any further corrections, the votes and proceedings of Thursday, 24th November 2022 are hereby adopted as a true record of proceedings. Honorable members, we now move to item 5, business statement for the Safe Week. Chairman, Business Committee.
Mr. Speaker, the chair of the Business Committee is unavoidably absent. If it will please you, I may want to present it on his behalf as his vice chair.
Yes, Minority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I was about leaving the chamber to the mosque, but it's a matter that I feel strongly that I have to bring to your attention and that of Honorable Minister. When the Honorable Howard Kumsin made her statement on those matters on the occasion of celebration of World Fisheries Day, Mr. Speaker, I picked up a copy, and the copy is in her name as Honorable Mavis Howard Kumsin. For the record, she is the Honorable Minister responsible for fisheries and aquaculture. And therefore, a statement of that nature, as I've read the content, reflects government policy and policy statements of a government minister. I thought that the record should reflect as such, so that you don't have to go, when you put it under her honorable membership for the people of Ewutu, Mr. Speaker, the mandate and authority of her person and office will be lost. And I see far-reaching policy decisions, even references to cabinet decisions. So I thought that, Mr. Speaker, I should bring that to your attention. You probably would, if you get the original copy, is in her name, so that next time she's better guided herself. That as minister, is your opportunity to make any policy statement on your sector. And you are free to do so, but not reduce it to a kind of, pardon my word, Mr. Speaker, a private statement. Thank you. Because of the content.
Yes, Deputy Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, save that equity will look at substance and not form. The supposed errors can easily be cured. Yeah, you are saying that it was on her personal letterhead. Yes, and I'm saying that the substance of it reflects the sentiment you express. So, but that notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, we take it that in future it has to be on her official letterhead.
I actually allowed the Minority Leader because of the position as Minority Leader. He leads the whole minority group. But the copy of the statement that I have, even though it's headed or printed on the letterhead of the minister, it says statement by Honorable Mavis Howard Kumsin, Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, and MP for Ewutu Senior East, on the occasion of celebration of World Fisheries Day. So she opted to make a statement, not in the form of a policy statement, which she is allowed to do, but it's her decision. So decided to come for her to celebrate the day. The intention was actually not to come for a policy statement, but the contents captures some parts of policy. But that is her choice. And that is why I allowed the ranking member to also go into issues of policy because of the contents of the statement. But as to whether she must come by a policy statement, it's not for us to decide. It's for the minister to do so. And she decided to come by just an ordinary statement to celebrate and recognize the day. So that is how it was admitted. The main issue is that actually you were out of order because we had gone far beyond that one. And then you took us backwards. But you are a big man in the House, so I had to listen to you. Minority Leader. I used to say I was the alternative president when I was Minority Leader. In the parliamentary system, the leader of the opposition is the alternate to the Prime Minister. And His Excellency President Kufuor used to doubt it, but I insisted. Yes, so you can now go on.
Speaker, I will proceed with the business statement, but I need your guidance since we are on this matter. Though you've ruled the Minority Leader out of order, but Mr. Speaker, you've raised an important point that I think your guidance would help all of us. Mr. Speaker, when she made her application, I had intimated that she could come into the dispatch box. She said she could still make it there. Mr. Speaker, is it the case that if a minister of state is making a statement on government policy or a policy regarding her ministry, he or she could be at a sitting place and does not necessarily need to come into the dispatch box? That if it is a government policy, it is mandatory to come to the dispatch box. I just want your guidance, Mr. Speaker. You are well endowed with the rules.
Actually, it depends on the system. It depends on the system, whether you are dealing with the parliamentary system or the presidential system. And it also depends on the practice of the House. We've not actually established any convention in this matter. It's a matter of choice. But I could see beyond your request that you wanted her to come to the dispatch box for some other reasons. And so I overruled you and insisted she should do it at her seat. And I can tell you later on the reasons why I did so, and I was really justified. I had very good reasons for allowing her to do so because she felt more comfortable and at home at her seat than coming to the dispatch box. Because the speech was quite lengthy, that is why I called on her to conclude. And as you rightly did, the rest were captured on the official reporting by the Hansard Department. So let's move on with the statement of the business for the next week. So far, that has been established.
It is so.
Yes, so Chairman, in situ, you can now go on with the business statement.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, your committee met yesterday and agreed on the following as the business for the ensuing week. Mr. Speaker, you would have the discretion to, Mr. Speaker, read as and when available communications to the House. And then again, Mr. Speaker, in total, we agreed to take 44 questions. 40 of these are regular questions to be orally answered, and 4 of them are very urgent questions. And then, Mr. Speaker, may also admit statements, and bills and papers may also be laid as may be available to the House under Order 119. And then, of course, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Order 75, papers for presentations to the House may be placed on the order paper for laying, and committee reports may also be presented to the House. Mr. Speaker, consequentially, motions and resolutions may be taken, if any. Then, Mr. Speaker, debate on the budget. Mr. Speaker, it is expected that debate will start on Tuesday, the 29th of November 2022. And the allotted times are as follows. For the one to second the motion and the ranking member of finance, they would have 20 minutes each. And it must be emphasized that the motion has already been moved by the minister. So the chair of the finance committee will only second, and then the ranking contributes. So they would have 20 minutes each. Other committee chairs and ranking members would have 15 minutes, as well as ministers who may be contributing, 15 minutes each. All other members would have 10 minutes each. The Speaker, leadership agreed to have the debate on sector by sector. So on the 29th of November, it is expected that the debate will focus on finance, agriculture, trade and industry, and Wednesday, communications, energy, roads, works, house, sanitation and environment, and Thursday, the 1st of December, education, health, employment, youth and sports, tourism, culture and chieftaincy, and Monday, the 5th of December, governance, including the local government, judiciary, defense, interior. Then we'll take constitutional bodies such as EC, NCCE, and SHRAJ. The Speaker, as per the practice, will reserve Tuesday, the 6th of December, for the two leaders to debate. The minority leader would have his bite, and the conclusion on the debate will be so done by the majority leader, leader of government business, and Minister of Parliamentary Affairs. Members are expected to prepare and make great inputs in their debates. The Speaker, we also agree that there will be less interruption, that members should allow colleagues to flow and take note of their reservations, of course subject to the rules of the House. The Speaker, sitting and extended sittings. The Speaker, we recommend that sitting should commence each day at 10 a.m. and once we do the extended sitting, the next one for the pleasure and comfort of members would also be put in place. The Speaker, your committee also reiterates that because of the time limit for Parliament to consider all of these, we implore the various sector agencies and ministries to bring their estimates to us on time, and then to enable members properly steady make inputs for final consideration during the appropriation. The Speaker, again, will remind members that today is a reporting time for the post-budget workshop at the Volta Serene Hotel in Ho. Sufficient accommodation arrangements.
Honorable Deputy Majority Leader, the second Deputy Speaker to take the chair.
Very well. Second Deputy, is it your pleasure that I proceed?
Yes, you can proceed.
Very well. So, the Speaker, as I've already said, members are supposed to check in today. We have sufficient accommodation arrangements in place. The members are supposed to be properly prepared, have all documents and gadgets that would ensure your full participation in the workshop. You know what it takes. Have every necessary document and gadget, your computers, the budgets, reference documents, everything should be with you as you go to home. The Speaker, we're supposed to stay there till Monday, and after breakfast we depart. So, Speaker, Briefings by the ministers for lands and natural resources, defense and national security. Mr. Speaker, we have had consultations with these ministers, and then as we firm up the dates, members will be duly informed. Mr. Speaker, of course, 2nd December is a statutory holiday, it's National Farmers' Day. It is therefore expected that members will go to their constituents and observe the day. Mr. Speaker, I attach here too a 9-page document which outlines the schedule or the order of activity for the ensuing week. Having done so, and without more, Mr. Speaker, I move that in accordance with Order 162 and 53 of the rules of this House, this business statement be adopted. Suffice to add, Mr. Speaker, there is no requirement in our rules for this to be seconded or to be debated. Members must take note. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, honourable members, the Deputy Chairman for the business statement has read to us the program for the ensuing week. It is for the consideration of the House, so if there's any member who has any issue or contribution to make, this is the time. And I've cited Honourable Member for Northtown to begin with. So, Honourable Member, let's hear you.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I'm grateful for the opportunity. Our Majority Leader and Deputy Majority Leader, if we can have your attention, please. Yeah. Thank you very much. I have 4 quick matters to raise following from the presentation of the business statement. The first one relates to copies of the 2023 budget. We are expected to travel to Ho for the post-budget workshop, as you have indicated. But as at this morning, we still do not have copies of the budget, hard copies of the budget. And honourable members will want to have copies so we can prepare, particularly when we arrive this evening, use the night to read through. It's a voluminous document, so that we can be adequately prepared for the workshop tomorrow morning when the resource persons arrive. So that's the first concern, the copies of the 2023 budget, which we still do not have. The second concern, Honourable Speaker, relates to a matter before this House which is of enormous national interest. The vote of censure motion, which we began the debate, the Speaker referred the matter under Article 82(4) to an ad hoc committee. I would like to find out from the Honourable Majority Leader or the Deputy Majority Leader if that has been programmed for the debate to continue, because I know as a member of the committee that our report is ready, but we do not find that in the business for next week we have this matter programmed for the full debate to continue and for the vote of censure to be taken, considering that that is an outstanding matter of enormous public interest, very, very important, a constitutional imperative. We must conclude the process once it has been triggered. I would like to find out if there is any indication which day next week we will be continuing with that matter, so we can conclude. The third concern, Mr. Speaker, relates to the arrangement of the days for the debate. I noticed, Mr. Speaker, that very key sectors have been omitted. For example, my own sector, the Foreign Affairs Committee, we don't feature at all. It's as though we don't matter or we are not important. Transport doesn't feature, national security doesn't feature, the Lands Ministry doesn't feature, Attorney General finds no expression. Even the Honorable Majority Leader's own sector, Parliamentary Affairs, it doesn't feature. It doesn't feature at all. Parliament, which is really the institution that we all belong to, which I would have thought that we would have, ample time, to debate. There are so many issues relating to parliamentary affairs and parliamentary matters that we would like to debate and scrutinize critically. So if it is the format, maybe we can have broad strokes, thematic areas, and then the various sectors can come underneath. But the way it's been captured here, I'm afraid we will leave out so many critical sectors, including our own institution, Parliament, Foreign Affairs, Attorney General's Department, national security, and all of that. And these are very, very, very important issues, and they don't find reflection. Tuesday, we have finance, agriculture, trade, and industry. Wednesday, 30th, we have communications, energy, roads, works and housing, sanitation, and environment. Thursday, 1st December, education, health, employment, youth, and sports tourism. Maybe we can look at a thematic representation, probably governance like we are considering to do on Monday the 5th, and then we populate it. We can look at infrastructure, we can look at local government and sanitation environment. So I'm afraid the way it's been done here, we'll be leaving out so many, and I'm sure that honorable members are prepared, willing, and available to debate. They all want to participate. So we should open up the space so that many more of our colleagues can participate. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the fourth matter I want to raise for clarity. I noticed that we are sitting on Monday, the 5th of December, but that is where it ends. Nothing is said about the ensuing Mondays. Are we to prepare to now be sitting every Monday until we rise for the Yuletide? If that is it, let the indication be made so that we can prepare. And then we know that from Monday, the 5th of December, we will be sitting every Monday so that honorable members can adjust their itinerary and prepare accordingly. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Well. Let me go to Reverend, the lady, Honorable. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, under the various sectors that have been listed to debate, this is a very important sector, which is the social sector. And under the social sector, Mr. Speaker, I expected the leadership to include the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection in the debate. It's a very important ministry under social sector. Mr. Speaker, I also want to know from the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs why it's taking Parliament this long to vet the President's nominees for the position of a substantive Minister for Gender and the deputy minister. It's over 2 months now that they were nominated by the president. So I see no reason why Parliament is not vetting them to take up the position for the substantive Minister for Gender and the deputy. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Yes. Let me come to Eric Champon. Champon, kindly go to your seat. Yes, let's hear you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, last week when the business statement was read, I raised the issue about gender not found expression in the business statement, and the chief whip from the majority side did indicate that it was an oversight. You were presiding then, that they are going to take care of it. But looking at the debate schedule, so I can't find gender in there, meaning nobody is going to speak on gender, which is very critical for our development, especially the times that we find ourselves. So I don't know if the deputy leader, honorable leader,
Katie, you are distracted. You are distracted. You are distracted. You are distracted.
So, leader, my point is, last week, I did raise the issue about gender not found expression in the business statement. And the chief whip did promise that it was an oversight, so they will deal with it. But looking at the schedule you're giving as the debate schedule, gender ministry, there's no debate on gender. So if we can take that one on board, so that, and then the second, Mr. Speaker, we are told that we are to report this evening at voter serene. Normally, members will be giving indication as to which hotel they'll be lodging. But nobody is communicating to us. And it's not fair for members. All of us will go converge at one particular place. The kind of confusion. It can take more than 2 to 3 hours before members are given their rooms, and some will be told, go to this hotel and the rest.
Yes.
Members will get to Ho already tired. So please, before we get to Ho, give us the indication if they are going to chances, if they are going to voter sharing, so that members will go prepared. We don't want any surprises, neither.
Yeah.
So that we'll drive straight to our hotels. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You want to respond to this? Okay. Honourable members, I'll come back. So let's allow the deputy leader to respond to the area concerns.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, my colleague who spoke just raised the issue of accommodation. Please, I shall refer him to the business statement. I shall refer him to the business statement, which was circulated, of which he has a copy. Page 3, paragraph 6. And I shall draw his attention to the content of the said paragraph. The Speaker, having done so, with respect to the ad hoc committee, my colleague wanted to know what will happen to the work of the committee. If he has a copy of the order paper of today, I would want him to refer to page 5 of today's order paper. No. So what I'm saying is that it has to be named, and then we know the procedural imperative then. So it's consequential. That's the point I want to make. It's consequential if you read, if you come to page 1 of the business statement. Page 1 of the business statement, paragraph 2C. Paragraph 2C. It is there. The Speaker, he also wanted to know about whether the subsequent Mondays after the ensuing Monday, they will be sitting. Business statement is for the ensuing week's business. So we cannot arrange business for 2 weeks. So we said for the ensuing week. So in the ensuing week, we'll sit on Monday. So we are unable to tell you that subsequent Mondays after ensuing week, we'll be sitting. That will be outside our mandate. Yes, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the copies of the budget, of course, it would be made available for members to prepare. I thank you. I've responded.
Very well. So I'll come to Honorable Barry Bamboy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have just 3 issues. The first one is item 8 on today's order paper. If we go back to last week, it was also captured on the same business paper, item 8, which talks about briefing by the ministers for lands and natural resources, defense and national security. This is a very important issue that the business committee brought up. And for it to be taking us more than 2 weeks for our own ministers to come and brief us on such a serious matter, Mr. Speaker, is a serious concern. Some of us have these kind of activities happening in our constituency. And it's creating security issues. And so for the ministers who want to come here at their leisure time to come and address such a serious matter, I think it begs for some questions. And so I want to appeal to Speaker and for that matter leadership that this week they should try and come and answer these issues. Even if you look at it, you are not still certain. You are here to see them negotiating and whatever is going on. That for me is a serious matter, and I think that we should draw your attention to it. Mr. Speaker, the second one has to do with the inauguration of friendship associations. 2 weeks ago, the Speaker gave a directive on this matter, and nothing is happening. I thought that you would have been captured here for this week, and you would have been captured here for next week, and it's not here. When are we going to have these friendship associations inaugurated? Some countries are calling individuals and trying to find out, and it's so embarrassing that it's taking this parliament more than 2 years to be able to inaugurate committees, not any other thing, just inauguration of committees. We are seen not to be serious, and some of us will point out these issues. So if the business committee cannot do this, they should give it to us, we'll do it. Mr. Speaker, let me also talk about the fact that they are asking ministries to bring their estimates early enough. That's a good call. Sometimes the delay committee, the blame committee members or the committee chairs and the ranking for not bringing estimates reports early. It's always coming from the various ministries. When they bring it and you ask for further and better particulars, they drag their feet. And once you do that, I will not sit in any committee where we need relevant information for us to make decisions. You don't bring that information and you ask me to go ahead and pass that report or bring the report here. I won't be part of it. And I know many of my colleagues here will not be part of this.
All of us.
So leadership should talk to them, the ministries. They should do well and bring us the information early enough, and when they bring it and we ask for further and better particulars, they should bring it. They should bring it. What are you hiding? And I already have a list of some of the things that I want them to bring. And that is why I'm saying it here. If they don't bring them for the ministries of trade and industry, as well as tourism, and the reports are delayed, leadership should not blame anybody. Mr. Speaker, God bless you. Today is a Friday. Thank you.
Yes, my brother.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my issue has to do with item 3. That is on debate of the budget statement and then the economic policy. In the wisdom of the committee, they have structured the sectors, and then days are allotted to the sectors for comprehensive and then free flow of debate. But I've glanced through. I've seen that lands and natural resources is conspicuously missing in the structured items that have been given. So does it mean lands and natural resources will not have a bite? I want to know why it is missing. That is my issue. Thank you.
Yes, I come to Honorable Kofi Adams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, my concern again is to do first with the Monday's sitting. And Parliament is really a place that is very well organized. We don't sit on Mondays for a purpose. And so if the business committee is planning to give an indication that we will sit on Monday, and a member is interested in knowing whether the subsequent weeks the same thing will happen or possibly it will happen, it's important for us to get some information and some indication. Because last week, when the business committee presented the program for this week that is ending, they gave us an indication as to how we were going to organize the debate which is happening next week. They planned for it ahead. If you look at your previous week business statement, which we are using for this week, you gave us indication as to what will be happening next week. Even in this statement, you equally have planned for Tuesday, 6th of December, which is outside the next week plan that you are supposed to do, because you wanted us to know. The member is only asking, and I'm interested to know whether beyond next week Monday, there's a possibility that we'll be sitting for other Mondays, so we can plan ahead. We don't go and schedule programs in our constituencies only for last minute for us to be cancelling those programs. So it is not enough for leaders to tell us that they are only planning for the ensuing week and they cannot give us any indication. Mr. Speaker, the second concern is call on us to expedite consideration of the estimates for various ministries. That is true. We would like to do that. But will they submit those reports to us early enough? If you take an example, Speaker, on the other paper, we still have budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of National Security for the period January to December 2021, which has not even been laid for the committee to consider. They have presented the 2023 budget, and we are being called to expedite actions on it. Sometimes the ministries must act, and act quickly, and act quickly to be able to submit reports.
Yes. Honourable Member for BM, hold on. Yes, Honourable
Mr. Speaker, I raise some point of correction. My colleague indicated that budget performance report of the Ministry for National Security is yet to be laid. Mr. Speaker, that statement is not accurate. The budget performance report was duly laid, and Mr. Speaker referred the report to the committee for consideration and report to the House. Mr. Speaker, the committee was programmed to engage with the ministry, except that the ministry did not turn up.
So I was even surprised when I saw, this same report on the other paper for presentation again. The other day, when the majority leader rose and gave indication about the presentation of that report, three of us sprang to our feet. We wanted to draw the attention of the majority leader to the fact that that report had indeed been laid, but somehow the majority leader didn't proceed with his intent to present that particular paper. So that is the point of correction I thought I should make.
Very well. So, Honorable Kofi Adams.
Well, Speaker, what I was just trying to say is that the committee have not even had the opportunity of looking at that report and being able to present it to the House, but they are expecting us to consider their 2023 budget, which is problematic. So we expect the leadership to help us. We will want to consider these things expeditiously, but if they don't help us, we will have a difficulty in doing so. Thank you.
Very well. So I come to, is it Wa West?
You are correct, Mr. Speaker, Wa West.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. And I want to ask just two straight questions. The first one, I filed a question, an agent question, which was admitted by the Speaker. I found expression on Wednesday order paper. Surprisingly, I saw the National Security Minister in the House, but the question was not answered. And these are security matters. I was wondering why the ensuing week business statement cannot capture that question again. And that was an agent question. On matters of security, if we decide to ignore, when it erupts, somebody will say, what was Parliament doing? We are here to play our role, and I think that I am doing that as much as I can. So let's take note of it. If it is possible for us to bring the minister back to the House to answer that question. The second issue, Mr. Speaker, this is a business statement ending Friday, 2nd of December. And we are using only 5 days to debate the budget. 5 days, ending in the next week, not this particular week that we are programming for. So if it is possible to program for 2 weeks straight ahead, why can't we debate this budget for 7 days, such that some very important ministries that are left out can be captured? The time is ours. If we decide to do things late, let's not tell the Ghanaian people that we don't have the time. We can make the time to do what is important, because the budget statement and economic policy is one of the key documents that Parliament must be so critical of. I'm so grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Yes, I come to Honorable Clementa Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me the opportunity to comment on the business statement. Mr. Speaker, the first issue I would want to raise is in the form of an appeal to leadership, that as they have seen it fit through the business committee to designate specific days for specific sectors, I would want to plead that we take those days and the sectors sequentially. The tendency of, for example, jumping from one debater on education to youth and sports to chieftaincy and then coming back to education is messy. It is not neat. It doesn't let us look good. So I want to plead that when we start, it should be sequential. Education is debated. After that, health is debated, employment, and in that order. I think that will help us a lot. Mr. Speaker, the second issue I want to raise is to add my voice to the call for the inclusion of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. Mr. Speaker, now more than ever, at a time when we are facing excruciating hardship, galloping inflation, high cost of living, high cost of fuel, clearly, it is those who are most vulnerable in our society who would bear the brunt outside the lenses of the media. And that is why it is crucially important that the ministry and the committee that has oversight responsibility and has the mandate to ensure that persons with disability, the aged, and the vulnerable in society generally is given priority, so that we can see how best we can come together to address the challenges that they are facing. Mr. Speaker, this issue of ministries and their agencies presenting their estimates to us on time, I find the language used under item 5 rather very lax and weak. Why do we write as though we are begging them? It is their responsibility. We ought to provide timelines and be specific and insist that we want you to present your estimates at this time. When you write, you use language like estimates as early enough. When you say should endeavor to submit, why should we be begging them? They have a responsibility to do the needful, and we ought to begin asserting ourselves. These are some of the reasons why the Ghanaian public sees Parliament as weak. And I want to emphasize that point. Mr. Speaker, on an issue of welfare, those of us on the 10th floor, east, for a week now, our air conditioners have not been working. And anyone who is on the 10th floor would know that we don't have windows in our offices. So it is making it humanly impossible for us to sit in our offices. I want to bring this to the attention of leadership. I have made all the necessary calls, contacted those who should be making sure that this problem is fixed, to no avail. And I think that is not right. As members of Parliament, we should not be struggling to get such basic needs and basic challenges addressed. It's simply not right. Mr. Speaker, before I sit down, now this is the main part of it, I would want to plead with your good self and the leadership of the House to program the Minister for Education to come and brief this House on what his ministry is doing to address the myriad of challenges affecting teaching and learning in this country. From basic all the way to tertiary, there are serious challenges, including challenges to do with the distribution of recently produced textbooks for basic schools, including the fact that capitation grants are still owed, including the fact that our students in secondary school are still suffering from food shortages, inadequate food, and the supply of unwholesome food by unscrupulous buffer stock food suppliers. At the tertiary level, Mr. Speaker, for your information, as we speak now, all the tertiary schools in Ghana, how they are teaching staff on strike. So I want to plead.
Honourable Member, so why don't you file a question or make a
Mr. Speaker,
statement
I have filed
so that
several questions.
you have adequate time to discuss this?
Mr. Speaker, I filed several questions.
No.
These are agent matters, Mr. Speaker. Tertiary institutions, all the lecturers are on strike.
Honourable Member, it's okay.
I want to please with you and the leadership to program the minister to come and brief the House.
Leader, respond to them.
I filed many.
Honourable Clement Apak knows that as a parliamentarian, he is supposed to file questions, and the admissibility of questions is something that is within the bosom of Mr. Speaker in accordance with our rules. Perhaps if he claims he has filed many questions and same have not been admitted, then he should find a proper way of filing the appropriate question for admission. If Mr. Speaker is rejecting your question, then there's a problem with your questions. So, Mr. Speaker, you can't blame the business committee And you cannot use a back door if your questions are not admissible to attack the ministry on its blind side. That is unfair. Your comments by way of input should not be used to debate. What you attempted doing was to debate. So I'm telling him that if indeed he has filed a question, follow up with the Speaker's office. If you claim you filed several questions, follow up. And then, Mr. Speaker, he said about there is heat on the 3rd floor. He has complained to his leadership. 10th floor, you say you've complained to your leadership. They are not doing anything about it. He said you're complaining to your leadership. So where did you complain? You said you complained to your leadership. Yes, so your leadership should be responsible to ferry your complaints to the appropriate quarters. So I'm just directing you to talk to your whips so that they can ferry these concerns to the clerk. It's not for the business committee to deal with that. That's the point I'm trying to make. Mr. Speaker, that is correct. We should follow the right procedure. When you have an issue, that's why we have the whips. The whips are there to deal with welfare issues. So I'm just helping him to deal with his whips. Muntaka Mubarak, Ahmed Ibrahim, and Honorable Doyo, these are the 3 whips you have. If you ferry your concerns to them, they would also deal with the clerk. That is the procedure. Mr. Speaker, having said so, I will proceed with the national security issue. Mr. Speaker, we have engaged these ministers and we are to schedule them to appear before us. The business committee is not made up of the majority side. It's a bipartisan committee made up of leaders of both sides. So we agree on what to do. So it is not a matter of the majority leader failing to. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of the Friendship Association, the inauguration of the Friendship Association, I chair the management committee, and I would want to assure the House that I would engage the Speaker's office because Mr. Speaker is supposed to inaugurate the committee. So I will liaise with Mr. Speaker and ensure that this is done. But Honourable Member for Bole, Mr. Speaker, he put across some concerns and he's left the chamber. He's left the chamber. Yes, he left the chamber. After making those points, he's left the chamber. What I'm saying is that he's left. The very questions he asked have been captured in the business committee report. So I wanted to tell him that he should pay attention to the content. But he's not here. He's not here. He left. He put out a concern and he has left the chamber. You want to debate me in the dispatch? I mean, the dispatch box. No, take leave of speaker. I'm here. No, I'm here. This is a dispatch box. You can't do point of order here. Mr. Speaker, I think there was a repetition of an earlier concern regarding some sectors. Be assured that all sectors will have an opportunity to debate. And then Honorable Kofi Adams wanted to know about the issue of subsequent weeks program. We cannot program for a week after next week Monday. We cannot. Mr. Speaker, paragraph 1 of the Business Committee report reads, Right Honorable Speaker, the committee met yesterday, Thursday, 24th November 2022, and arranged business of the House for the 6th week ending 2nd December. And if you look at the rules of the House, we are within what we have done. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you may direct the report to be adopted. The Honourable Member has had a bite.
Honourable Member, we've already spoken.
Mr. Speaker.
You've already spoken, isn't it?
No, my question is a very important one and has not been answered. I want to know.
Yes.
I want to know why the president
The
has not been
minister's,
vetted.
the president's nominee.
Speaker, a referral has been made to the committee, the appointment committee. You see, Honorable Reverend Helen Ntoso, the business committee can only program the committee's report to be debated when we receive say. A referral has been made to the committee. It is for them to complete their work and present their report. When the report is ready, that is where our mandate will start. I hope you understand the point I'm making. Yes, their support. The appointment committee has received a referral. What the business committee is doing now is to program what it has received, what we've received from the speaker, all the reports that are available to us are what we are doing now. So if you say the business committee has not discharged its mandate on this matter, I beg to differ. It is not the case. Thank you.
Honorable members, the business statement has been read to us. We have discussed it, and I think we have to adopt the business statement for the ensuing week. So the business statement for the ensuing week is hereby adopted. So are we moving to item 6? Leader, are you moving to item 6?
It is so, Mr. Speaker.
I think these are questions.
Yes, questions.
Very well. So, offer. May you take your rightful seat.
Mr. Speaker, with your leave, may we proceed to commencement of public business. We'll come back. So we take item 8.
Very well. Honorable members, let me invite you to page 3. Page 3. At the commencement of public business, presentation of papers. So item number 8, and we will begin with 8A by the National Security.
Mr. Speaker, page 8.
Yes, table.
Mr. Speaker, the ranking member spoke to this, that this document has already been presented to the House, has been referred to the committee. We're not going to go back to it. That is 8A.
Yes.
I guess there's a mix-up from the table office.
Yes. So we'll move to 8B. Honorable members, 8A has already been laid. So we move to 8B.
Speaker, if I may stand in for the Minister responsible for local government, decentralization and rural development to present this document.
Yes. Rose.
Mr. Speaker, I could do it for the Minister.
No problem.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly for the year 2021.
Honorable members, the statement has been duly presented. It was referred to the Committee on Local Government and Rural Development for consideration and report. We move to 8C, Minister for Works and Housing.
Speaker, again, to stand in for the Minister for Works and Housing.
Very well.
Budget performance report in respect of the Ministry of Works and Housing for the period January to December 2021.
Honorable members, the report has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Works and Housing for consideration and report. We turn to 8CI. 8CI.
Speaker, we've done ACI. So II now. II now.
Very well.
Annual statement by the Audit Committee of the State Housing Company Limited for the year 2021.
Honorable members, this statement has been duly presented. It is referred to the Committee on Works and Housing for consideration and report. We now turn to 8D. 8D.
Speaker, respectfully, if we could branch all of them under D together, that is Roman number 1 to 6.
Very well.
And present them in one basket.
Very well.
Request for waiver of import duties, Get Fund, NHIL, import VAT, and Exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent.
Yes.
Request for waiver of import duties, Get Fund, NHIL, import VAT, and Exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of $4,198,703 United States dollars 65 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by Fukai Company Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program. Request for waiver of import duties, Get Fund, NHIL, import VAT, and Exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of $1,235,410 United States dollars 41 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by Les Farm Industries Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program. Request for waiver of import duties, Get Fund, NHIL, import VAT, and Exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of $1,122,131 United States dollars 25 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by Yellowtail Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program. Request for waiver of import duties, Get Fund, NHIL, import VAT and exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 419,603 United States dollars 23 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by Golden Latex Products Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program. Request for waiver of import duties, GEFAN, NHIL, import VAT and exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 159,837 United States dollars 94 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by OA&J Pharmaceuticals Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program. Request for waiver of import duties, GEFAN, NHIL, import VAT, and exim levy amounting to the Ghana cedi equivalent of 148,391 United States dollars 25 cents on machinery, equipment, and raw materials to be imported by Sankofa Brewery Limited under the implementation of the One District, One Factory program.
Honorable members, the request for ADI, IV, VI have been duly presented. They are referred to the Finance Committee for consideration and report. We move to.
I think that the leader was going to intervene. I think this referral must be referred to the Finance Committee and the leadership of the Trade and Industry Committee.
Speaker, I believe it's appropriate. Indeed, I was just going to do that. And also for the committee to interrogate the referral of the parents' document if it preceded the passage of the exemptions bill, they will be home and dry. If indeed it came after the exemptions bill, then of course the appropriate thing may have to be done by the committee that you're referring this matter to. That's the Finance Committee plus the leadership of the Trade and Industry Committee.
Very well. Honourable members, the VI, the referral to Committee on Finance, we are adding the leadership of Trade and Industry into the committee for the consideration of these reports, and they will have to report back to the House. I understand the AE. We have to jump the E to F.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, like the 8A, it does appear that E has also been done already. So it will not be repeated. Mr. Speaker, so we can go to F.
Very well. Honourable members, we are on page 5, item listed F by the chairman.
Report of the ad hoc committee on the motion of censure against the Honourable Minister for Finance, Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta.
Honourable members, the report has been duly presented. It is for distribution to honourable members. We turn to G on page 6. G.
Mr. Speaker, the committee chair is unavailable, so we stand that one down. And then for H, the entirety of H, the committee, I understand, is not finished with the business, so we stand those ones down. And then come back to the questions.
Then the IV. Okay, all of them. Okay, fine.
Right, Honourable Speaker, item F.
Honourable, I haven't invited you. Yeah, I can now see you.
Speaker, I'm kindly advising that the report on F, since it's a very important report, every effort must be made to ensure that members have copies of that report. Thank you.
Very well. Very well. Yes, Chairman of the committee, you want to
Mr. Speaker,
say something?
I'm not sure about the implication of the statement he just made. This is an important report. So is this suggesting that some reports made in this House are not important? So what is the point?
Well, Leader.
Speaker, I didn't hear the intervention of my colleague initially, but every report that is laid here is required to be made available to every member of this House. Every report is required to be made available to every member. Mr. Speaker, I'm just going to take us back to the F. The report of the ad hoc committee on the motion of censure against the Honorable Minister for Finance. I guess we should get the caption right. The censure is not against the minister. The censure is in respect of the minister, or is on the minister. So I believe we need to have the proper caption.
Yeah.
So it should be the report of the ad hoc committee on the motion of censure on the Honorable Minister for Finance, Mr. Kenofureta, or if you like, in respect of the Honorable Minister for Finance. But to say that it's against the minister, I think that is wrong.
I think we understand what this means. It's very, very clear what it is. It is about the minister, one way or the other. Yeah, well, whatever it is, we understand what it means. It's about the minister.
Yes, Honorable
Speaker, we learn every day. I know that when there are things like this, leader would have directed an addendum, other paper addendum be prepared to reflect the content of how he wants the motion to be captured. So I think that's the proper thing to do. If we can prepare an addendum so that the terms will be properly captured, that will be the way to do.
Well, Honorable, hold on. I'll come to you.
The Speaker, I raised this just so that we do some introspection on it, because I don't really recollect the caption of the report. If the report is, how have you captured it?
Well, actually, Mr. Speaker, I think that is how it is captioned. A report of the ad hoc committee of the motion of censure against. So just as it's a place in it's captured in the other paper. But really, my leader, what is it? The motion was brought. Well, he said it's about. It's on him. It's against him. So maybe for now we will leave it as it is. Subsequently, if we have to do another one, we won't do it against. We'll do it on whatever. So for now, I think we'll claim the indulgence of the House to adopt it as it is. Against the minister, then we'll take it from there. So we're not bringing any addendum to correct it. It's fine as it is.
Honorable Member, is it the same? Is it on the proposition? Okay.
It's not the deal we are making.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, please, with due respect, I want to draw attention to Article 82(5) of the 1992 Constitution. The wording there is, in my view, consistent with what has been captured. It says that Article 82.5 provides, where a vote of censure is passed against a minister under this article, the president may, unless the minister resigns his office, revoke his appointment as a minister. So the vote of censure, if it's been captured here as report of the ad hoc committee on the motion of censure against the Honorable Minister for Finance, Mr. Kenufuriata, I see this as consistent. The vote of censure is a vote of censure against the minister. It's against the minister. So I don't think that we should split hairs over this, really. The majority leader prefers what? About or on. But it's against the minister, really, as Article 82.5, provides. So I really think that it can pass, and we should leave it as it is. I think it's just about semantics, really.
Mr. Speaker, with respect to my colleague, 82.5 does not yet apply. It's 82.4 that applies. And read that one. A Minister of State, in respect of whom a vote of censure is debated, right? So now it's about the minister, it's on the minister. When the motion has carried, then it will have been against him. That is where the 82.5 that you read would apply. It says, where a vote of censure is passed after the passage of the vote, then it's against the minister. But now, the vote of censure, the motion is on the vote of censure in respect of the minister, or is about that minister. That's the distinction that I wanted to bring. And Mr. Speaker, because their own report captures that language, maybe for now we can live with it. I was just saying that let's introspect on that. It's not the appropriate caption. That's all that I wanted to bring about. Mr. Speaker, I believe we can move on.
Very well. So, honourable members, we move on. And before we move on, please kindly indulge me. The time is 2 o'clock. Permit me to move beyond the time. And I think at this time that we are moving beyond the time, I will offer Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways to take the appropriate seat for members to ask their questions. So, honourable members, it's question time. Item 6 on the order paper. Yes. Yes. Honourable members, we are not even supposed, we are going to hold after adjournment, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions for the minister. So the guidelines will be that if the question is constituency specific, it will be only be with the owner of the question, and we will have only 2 supplementary questions, if indeed he has a supplementary question, only 2. And it will not pass on to any other person. So 2 supplementary questions for the owner of the questions. So we will begin with a member for K2 South. K2 South, Honorable Jifa Bumashi, to begin with the questions. So, Honorable Member, the Minister is available now. You may ask your question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways the status of the following roads in the Agbozumo area of the Ketu South constituency. Agbozumo to Fajakofa, which is a 3.7-kilometer road, and Agbozumo to Poglu, which is also 10.5 kilometers. I thank you.
Yes, Honorable
You
Minister.
don't have the numbers here for a vote.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Agbozome to Kope Federal Road measures 3.7 kilometers long and is located in the Ketu South municipality of the Volta region. It is a partially engineered road in poor condition. Mr. Speaker, currently there is no program on this road. The future program in this road is that engineering design studies will be carried out on the road by the end of the first quarter of 2023 to assess the appropriate intervention, after which procurement of works will be considered under the 2024 budget. Mr. Speaker, Agbozome to Okro Road. This feeder road is 10.5 kilometers long and is also located in Ketu South municipality of the Volta region. Mr. Speaker, it is an engineered road in poor condition. Currently, the road was packaged together with other roads and awarded under a contract titled Bitumen Surfacing of Agbozome to Okru Feeder Road, Akachi to Kove Aveda Dapa Feeder Road, Akachi to Zazi Supreme Feeder Road, and Akachi da Bamate to Aveno Pemi Feeder Road. The Speaker, the contract was awarded on 12 July 2016 and commenced on 17 August 2016 with a scheduled completion date of 17 February 2019, which has been extended to 20th July 2023. The contractor abandoned site due to delay in payment in 2018, but the employer has fulfilled all his payment obligation. Extension on the contract period was granted for the contractor to resume work, but has so far failed to mobilize to site. Mr. Speaker, warning letters have been issued to the contractor dated 18 July 2022 and 10 August 2022 on failure to commence the works. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter of 2023. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member. Any further questions?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this morning I heard you call the Honorable Minister for Roads, Wafa. I want to use this platform to appeal to him to adopt me as a niece and provide some support for us to patch at least some of the roads whilst we wait for the contractor to do the main thing. The situation on those roads are dire, and your intervention is critically needed. I want to urge that perhaps, if it's possible, Honorable Minister, for you to arrange for some filling and then some grading to reshape it so that it's motorable in the meantime. If you can kindly adopt me as your niece and assure me that that will be done, I'll be grateful. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Offer, this is not even a person. It's just appealing that adopt her as one of your nieces. And I hope you've adopted her. And the request is that you grade the road if the actual contractor program is not ready yet. Make the road motorable for her. Yes. So I think
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I am not now going to even adopt her as a niece. She's already adopted long ago. And she knows that I am doing some work on certain roads in her constituency. To be specific, the cement road, Diamond Cement Road. And this is coming as part of the roads in her constituency. And these roads are critical, I must admit, in her constituency, particularly the Diamond Cement Road. And, Mr. Speaker, I have visited the place, and I know the state of the roads. So whatever is possible will be done, at least like she suggested, to make the road motorable for the time being. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
thank you very much. We now turn to question 647. I thought his answer has concluded everything for you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, it has, and I'm grateful to the Minister. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So we turn to question 647. 647. A member for Tema East, Honorable Isaac Ashai Odam 10. Honorable, let's hear you.
I think some of the phones are not working, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways the current state of the proposed alternative road connecting Tema Manhiang to Tema Community 1 and other adjoining communities through the industrial area. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Tema Manhiang is a town located in the Tema Manhiang district in the Greater Accra region. Currently, the Department of Urban Roads has undertaken engineering design studies for the partial reconstruction of an alternative route between Tema Manhiang and Tema Community 1. The proposed project includes the construction of a bridge across the Chemu Lagoon. Bridge design is ongoing, following which full estimates for the works will be prepared and submitted to the Ministry of Roads and Highways for consideration, subject, of course, to budgetary allocation under the 2024 budget. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member for Tema East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sadly, I would want to draw the Minister's attention to the fact that the response doesn't seem to address the issue at stake. Firstly, the response considers the location of Tema Manhiang under Tema Manhiang district. We do not have Tema Manhiang district in Ghana. What we have is the Tema Metropolitan Assembly. So that is the first. And then the caption itself, the response itself appears to be disconnected from the question because the visit to the site was in 2017. And so if they say currently engineering designs are being undertaken, I think that I would appeal to the minister to get back to those who presented this response and get the current state, because Temaman here and the industrial area is such an important place that provides a safe haven for the brown and blue collar job within the catchment area. And so if we are able to connect this alternative road, it will help industries and help in the economic situation in the Tema metropolitan area. So I would beg of the minister to come again because the responses appears to be very far from the reality on the ground. There is no work being done, and we expect the urban rules to provide a better response to this question. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. Minister, you. Mr. Speaker, in the first place, I thank my colleague for the correction. Yes, and it's true, I agree with him. Tema Mahia is under Tema Metropolitan Assembly, as a district. Mr. Speaker, my answer clearly indicated that engineering design studies have been completed, and it has confirmed that there should be an alternative route between Mahia and Tema Community 1. And in this proposed project, we are going to have a bridge across the Chemu Lagoon. So that is the engineering design that we have. So my understanding is that this will be a better route to join Tema Community 1 to Mahia. And that is the project that we have in the ministry, to solve the problem between Mahia and Tema Community 1. So this is the engineering solution that is available in the ministry. And of course, as a member of parliament for the area, it's your constituency. If it doesn't satisfy you, then, Mr. Speaker, I would like to call on him that after this session we check on it. It does not mean that what we have decided in the ministry should by all means prevail, but that is the technical answer to the question. As far as the road between Tema Community 1 and Manshia is concerned. But if you call on us in the ministry, I will make it possible for you to appear, together with or sit down with the engineers, the urban roads engineers working on this project. Then we agree on the actual route of Manshia to Tema Community 1 to resolve this problem. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the Minister for the opportunity for us to engage the engineers of the ministry for clarity on the project course, because the pre-2016 course would not get anywhere near the Chemu Lagoon, and even the post-2016 engineers project does not go over the Chemu, rather the Ozogu. That's why I say that the responses are way out of touch with the reality on the ground, because what the engineers looked at is the Ozogu River and not the Chemu Lagoon. And the pre-2017 area, we looked at a corridor around the Vaco Clinic area, which has nothing to do with the Chemu. And so reflecting on the response, which sought to suggest that there will be a bridge across the Chemu, tells me that either nothing is being done or responses are given which does not reflect that. But I take solace in your assurance that we can sit and probably clarify and define exactly what we want to do. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much. So we move to question 766. 766. A member for Galu. Very well.
I want to find out something from the double. Yes, honorable colleague, honorable member. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, as much as I'm aware, a bridge component is being put together. A bridge has been allocated, to your constituency on this road. I want to have a clear understanding of that. In constructing the road, you wouldn't need the bridge. Is that the case?
Mr. Speaker, we will certainly need a bridge, but the bridge will go over the Ozogu River and not the Chemu. The Chemu one was supposed to be a metal bridge to be added to the current bridge, which is just close to the naval base, a second bridge there. But the main alternative road would go through the Ozogu River and not the Chemu.
Thank you very much. So we now turn to Galu. Yes, Honorable Albert Akuka, please, you may ask your question on 766. Ozogu.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the following roads in the Garu constituency will be constructed. And you have there Garu Town to Patia, Garu to Rikambo, Garu to Kuri Natinga, Garu to Denugu Sisi, Garu to Kuri Natinga through Songo to Sinibaga. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Galu Town to Petia feeder road of length 1.6 kilometer long is located in the Galu district of the Upper East region. It is partially engineered with poor surface condition. There is no program on the road currently, Mr. Speaker. Engineering design studies will be conducted on the road by the end of the first quarter of 2023, after which procurement will be considered under the 2024 budget. Meanwhile, routine maintenance activities will be carried out on the road to render the surface more traveled. 2. Galu to Walikambo Road. Mr. Speaker, this feeder road is 5 kilometers long and located in the Galu district of the Upper East region. It is an engineered road with fair surface condition, but there is no program on the road currently. Engineering design studies will be conducted on the road by the end of the first quarter 2023, after which procurement will be considered under the 2024 budget. Again, meanwhile, routine maintenance activities will be carried out on the road to render the surface more traveled. 3. Galu to Kugri-Natinga Road. Mr. Speaker, this is a 15-kilometer long road and located in the Galu district of the Upper East region. It is engineered road with gravel surface in fair condition. There is no program on it currently, but moving into the future, engineering design studies will be conducted on the road by the end of the first quarter of 2023, after which procurement will be considered under the 2024 budget. Routine maintenance activities will continue to be carried out on the road and to render the surface more travel. 4. Galu to Denugu to Sisi Road. Mr. Speaker, this feeder road is 21 kilometers long and located in the Galu district of the Upper East region. The road has engineered and partially engineered and non-engineered sections as follows. Duli Junction to Denugu to Sisi of length 14 kilometers is an engineered road. Galu to Werichingo, just a kilometer, is partially engineered, and Werichingo to Duli Junction of length 6 kilometers is unengineered road. Mr. Speaker, the current program is from the Duli Junction to Denugu to Sisi Feeder Road was packaged into 6 separate contracts as follows. Phase 1 is spot improvement of the road. That is the first 2.5 kilometers. The contract commenced on 15th December 2020 for completion by 14 June 2021. The progress of work is estimated at 65% physical completion. Work executed to date include clearing of vegetation and road formation 2.5 kilometers, construction of 900 millimeter diameter pipe culvert, 1 in number. The contractor is currently on site and work are ongoing. Phase 2, spot improvement of Duli Junction to Denugu to Sisi Road. The contract commenced on 8 December 2020 for completion by 7 June 2021. The progress of work is estimated at 70% physical completion. Work executed to date include clearing of vegetation and road formation 2.5 kilometers, construction of 900 millimeter diameter pipe culvert, 2 in number. The contractor is again currently on site and work are ongoing. Phase 3, spot improvement of Duri Junction to Denugu to Sisi. The Speaker, the contract was awarded on 31st August 2020. However, the recommended contractor was found to have submitted deceitful documents during the signing of the contract agreement, and therefore the contract was cancelled. Phase 4, improvement of Duri Junction to Denugu to Sisi Road. The contract commenced on 10 February 2021 for completion by 9 August 2021. The progress of work is estimated at 79% physical completion. And here again, clearing of vegetation and road formation is done up to 2.5 kilometers, and construction of 900 millimeter diameter pipe culvert, 3 in number. The contractor is currently on site and work are ongoing. Phase 5. Mr. Speaker, the contract commenced on 10 July 2021 for completion by 2nd January 2022. The progress of work is estimated at 5% physical completion. Work executed to date include clearing of vegetation and road formation up to 2.5 kilometers. The contractor is also currently on site and works are ongoing. Phase 6. Mr. Speaker, the contract commenced on 4th April 2022 for completion by 2nd June 2022. Works executed to date include clearing of vegetation and road formation 2 kilometers, construction of double 1,200 millimeter diameter pipe culvert 1 in number, construction of single 1,200 millimeter diameter pipe culvert also 1 in number, construction of double 900 millimeter diameter pipe culvert 1 in number, and embankment protection, that is stone pitching, completed. Construction of trapezoidal drains 220 millimeters. The contract is 100% complete. Galu to Wechingo section of the road, just a kilometer. The Speaker, the development of this road of Galu-Denugo to Sisi Feeder Road has been hampered by the collapse of a double 3x2 meter box culvert as a result of the effect of previous year's exceptional rainfall. Detailed engineering, hydraulic and design studies for the construction of a box culvert with adequate capacity for the channel has been conducted. The estimate is being reviewed for consideration. Wechingo to Dono Junction Road, measuring 6 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, there is no program on this road. Engineering design studies will be carried out on the road for rehabilitation by the end of the first quarter of 2023 for consideration under 2024 budget. Meanwhile, routine maintenance, that is reshaping, will be carried out on the road to render it more travel. Kugri Natinga to Sengo to Sendibaga Road, also measuring 6 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, this is a feeder road measuring 6 kilometers long and located in the Talu district of the Upper East region. It is an engineered road with fair surface condition. There is no program on this road currently. Engineering design studies will, however, be conducted on the road by the end of the first quarter of 2023, after which procurement will be considered under the 2024 budget. Mr. Speaker, meanwhile, the ministry will continue its routine maintenance activities on the road to render the surface more travel. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Member, I think he's giving elaborate answer to your question. And I suppose you wouldn't have any supplementary question.
Mr. Speaker, I have supplementary question.
Okay, I give you one slot.
Oh, please.
Let's hear you. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, in fact, to begin with, I would like to draw the attention of the Minister to the fact that the contractor that he's talking about, I just called the Assembly member where this road construction is taking place. It's confirmed to me that the contractor is not at site. In fact, he's been away for several months as we speak. So, but the minister's response indicates that the contractor is at site. So, just by way of information, so the minister needs to take note of that. Now, Mr. Speaker, I would like to also, by way of information, let the minister know that the Kwatia Road has been in a very deplorable state for a very long time. I think in 2018, I brought this to the attention of the minister, and then for up to now, the condition is worsened. In fact, the bad aspect of it is that there's a very deep culvert, in fact, gullies in front of the chief palace, and almost every Garu market day, accidents do occur, and it's a very bad situation. And I would want to appeal to the minister to take steps to address this situation. Otherwise, it's very embarrassing. Added to that portion is that is the hometown of one of the oldest, one of the renowned politicians from our area, the late Alhaji Murayana. That is Alhaji Murayana's community. And in fact, we have, I'm appealing to the minister, look at this particular route for us. The route is in a very deplorable state. And we've called upon the minister, we've reported to the feeder routes and then other things. So, Mr. Minister, we would want to appeal to you to look at this one. And the sport improvement, not sport improvement, the continuous, the reshaping, where the minister is talking of that you will take steps. I mean, all the responses. Meanwhile, routine maintenance activities will be carried on the routes. There hasn't been any routine maintenance on some of these routes that I've mentioned for over 3 years. The observation I've also made...
Honorable, please, let's have the question, because we have so many questions too.
Okay. So my question is, Minister, what steps will you take to ensure that there is routine maintenance on the routes that I've mentioned and to help construct the Kwatia route, which is very embarrassing? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think from my answer, I have given elaborate response on the road, and work is being done in terms of contract award at various sections of the road, because if you put them together, it's a very long stretch of road. And from the answer, a lot of work has been done on various sections, to a very high percentage of completion, 65% completion, 79% completion, 70% completion at various sections. And I've indicated an answer to a question whether a contractor is on site or not on site. At times, if I say that a contractor is on site, perhaps I may be talking from purely technical point of view, as provided by the engineers, and as is known in road construction. If a contractor mobilizes to site and he abandons work or slows down, and all the equipments, the machinery, the construction gadgets are on site, perhaps with skeleton personnel, yes, work might not be going on, which I agree that the contractor is not on site. But once the contractor has not removed the equipment and might not have collapsed the site camp, it means the contractor is on site. Perhaps something is keeping him out. Work is not progressing. No, but it becomes very critical if the contractor completely vacates the site. No, and then takes everything away from the site camp. So when we say that the contractor is on site, we are saying that he has not abandoned site completely. So we try to, take steps to make sure that he comes back. And with various contractors having done work up to this high percentage of completion of 79, 80, 65%, we will keep an eye on this project to make sure that they come back. And it's usually on payment issues. I must be very frank and honest with you. It's mostly this delayed payment issue, because a lot of these contractors do not have the required capacity, and we are working through that. But for the routine maintenance, I take your word. We will keep an eye on it to make sure that at least we maintain the roads at a motorable state until the contractors come back to do the needful. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, let's see.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this is just to thank the Minister for this information and then to appeal to him that the routes, in fact, the reshaping or the improvement of the routes is very critical. Most of the roads are in a very bad state, so it's an appeal that he should at least, while preparing to start the construction, you should ensure that this improvement, routine improvement, is done and timely. Sometimes they do it in the very dry season when the ground is so hard, and then they will come and run through and just scratch, and nothing happens. So it's an appeal. Honorable Minister, thank you.
Very well. I believe the appeal is hereby heeded. Over. Is that all right? Very well. So we turn to question 767. 767. And the question comes from a member for New Edbiasi. New Edbiasi. Honorable Abdul Salam Adams.
York.
Yes. My Adamsi brother. Let's hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways when the 15-kilometer road from Tonkwasi number 1 to Brekete in the New Edubiase constituency will be awarded on contract. Thank you.
Yes. Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Tonkwasi number 1 to Brekete feeder road is 16.1 kilometer long and located in the Adansi South District of the Ashanti region. It is a partially engineered road in poor condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the Tonkwasi number 1 to Brekete feeder road has been awarded in 2 phases. Phase 1 is the upgrading of Tonkwasi number 1 to Brekete road. That is the first 8 kilometers. And phase 2 is from kilometer 8 to kilometer 16.1. That is the following 8.1 kilometers. Under phase 1, Mr. Speaker, contract for the upgrading of the road commenced on 20th October 2020 for completion by 19th October 2021. The contractor has so far failed to commence with the work, despite warning letters issued to the contractor on failure to commence. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter 2023. Phase 2, contract for the upgrading of the road commenced on 17 September 2020 for completion by 16 December 2021. The contractor has so far also failed to commence with the work, despite warning letters issued to the contractor on failure to commence. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter of 2023. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Honourable Member, any further questions?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was surprised to know that the Minister is indicating in his answer that the road had been awarded to contract since 2020. The last time I checked, I think about 3-4 months ago, the road had not been contracted at all. And that's why I couched my question the way I did. But I'll take the Minister's word for that and to ask that, who are these contractors and why have they failed to show up on site? Is it capacity issues or lack of funding for the project? Thank you.
Very well. Honourable Minister, he wants to know who the contractors are. Why are they not on site?
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I will provide the names of the contractors later. I don't have their names here, but as indicated in the answer, the contractors failed to commence work altogether after the project had been awarded. That is why the honourable member says that the roads have not been awarded because they did not even mobilize to site, so which means that even though they had to put in a bid for the road, after going through the procurement process, perhaps they realized that they didn't have the capacity to commence work, so they never mobilized to site. So once they didn't go to site, nothing was done. There was no circumambulance, there was no clearing, so there was no sign to show on site that the road have been awarded. And this is a typical problem that we have in the ministry. After taking all the trouble to go through these long procurement processes, we get this type of disappointment from time to time. So, Mr. Speaker, once it has come up, these two roads are going to be revisited so far as the issues are concerned, and make sure that we get a more competent contractors with better capacity to undertake the assignment. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we'll wait for a more competent contractor to show up. But before that, last year I used part of my statutory funds to reshape this road. And because of the heavy rains this year, the road has started developing potholes already. I wanted to find out from the minister, or to appeal to him, would you be kind enough to undertake some spot improvement on the road just to avoid a total deterioration of the road. Thank you. And to also ask that, are we assured of this road, of the contractors coming to site in 2023? Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as I always indicate, for either routine or periodic maintenance works on our roads, is part of our ongoing program. We undertake them as and when necessary, at least to make sure as many roads in our country are as motorable as possible, because it's not also possible that all roads will be worked on simultaneously. Whilst some are being worked on, those waiting for their turn, must be routinely maintained, so that we may also continue to maintain their motorability, until we come back to them, to work on them up to whatever level, whether bituminous level or whatever. So we shall continue to keep an eye on these two roads. But for those contractors, and I will furnish you the names, even though it's not of any use to us now. The most important thing is to look for better contractors in terms of capacity, to undertake construction of the road. And that should be our focus from now. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We turn to question 1771. Honorable Member for Khan, Honorable Yao Gumado. Yes,
the name is
Gumado, let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways if the ministry has a plan to construct a bridge over River Sukoko to serve Dodo, Bethel, and Dodo Amanfrom in Akan constituency. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the River Asokoko in the KGB district of the Oti region has a span of over 54 meters. Dodo to Bethel and Dodo to Amanfrom are among a number of communities separated by the Asukoko River. Mr. Speaker, therefore, the construction of a bridge will provide access to social amenities such as hospitals, schools, and market centers which are located in Dodo Amanfrom. Currently, there is no contract for the construction of the Asukoko Bridge. Detailed engineering design and geotechnical studies to determine an appropriate crossing point will be carried out by the end of the first quarter of 2023. The construction of the bridge will be considered as part of the phase 2 of the proposed check bridges program. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Gumado.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, thank you. I'm grateful for the Minister for his elaborate answer. However, the benefit of constructing the bridge is numerous, the absence of which is creating a lot of havoc. Can the Minister give me and the people of Akan constituency the assurance that indeed the construction of the bridge will be considered as part of the phase 2
of the proposed check bridges program? Honorable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, this bridge is very important, and therein also lies the importance of members to ask questions, about their road network. So it has brought to the fore, the need for the bridge, on the Sukoko River, because of its location and the fact that it separates two important communities, Dodo Beta and Dodo Amanfro, and therefore keep apart certain important facilities like schools and hospitals and market centers, since they are located at both points. So the second phase of the check bridges, which will start from January next year, has got a list of bridges, and I can assure the honorable colleague that we have programmed a bridge. That's why we have been able to establish the length of the bridge. It's more than a medium span bridge, about 54-meter long bridge. So that should indicate that some work has been done on it. Otherwise, we couldn't have even established the length. And we have located the appropriate point on the river. So it forms part of that. But I will further, Mr. Speaker, assure my colleague that in case there is an emergency on that bridge, we should bring it to our attention, because we have some other bridges available. Spanish bridges are available. Mabe bridges are even now available, but the spans are longer than this. They are longer spans of 100 and 120 meters, and I think the minimum is about 80. But yours is 54. That is why we have put it under the checked bridges program second phase, which starts from first quarter next year. But if there is any emergency, so far as this crossing point is concerned, let us know and we will decide what to do. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Very well. We move to question 1091. Question 1091. Honorable Member for Swaman. Swaman. Yes. Honorable Joseph Bitino, Yes, let's hear you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways what plans the ministry has to construct the route from 3 miles to Wanchikrom in the Siamai constituency.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the 3 miles entry Chrome feeder road is 24.2 kilometers long and is located in the Swaman and Awuri district of the Western North region. It is a partially engineered road with gravel surface in poor condition. Mr. Speaker, currently the contract for the first 12 kilometers of the road was awarded for spot improvement under the contract titled Spot Improvement of 3 miles to Akodia Feeder Road. That is, as I said, the first 12 kilometers. The contract was awarded in August 2020. The contractor is yet to submit all required documents to enable the signing of the contract agreement and subsequent commencement of works. The Speaker, engineering design studies will be carried out on the Akodia entry chrome section, that is from kilometer 12 to kilometer 24.2 of the road by the end of the first quarter of 2023 for consideration under the 2024 budget. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable, any further question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. According to the minister's answer, she indicates that from 3 miles to Akodie has been awarded for sport improvements. But there's virtually no activities on that route. So I want to find out from the minister, or whether he can give any assurance that the 3 miles to Akodie that is awarded will commence soon. And if yes, when specifically is it going to commence?
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as indicated in my answer, the entire road is of length 24.2 kilometers, and the first 12 kilometers have been awarded. But unfortunately, the contractor was not able to complete the procurement processes. He was not able to even submit the guarantee bond documents and all. And because of that, he has not even mobilized to site. The second phase of 12.2 kilometers have not been awarded. That is why I said that will be considered in 2023 by the first quarter. So, obviously, if the contractor fails to move to site, then we would have to go through the procurement process, either by giving the opportunity to the second contractor on our list, or none of them, those who put in their bid, has the capacity, then we may have to begin the procurement process again all together. So perhaps it may happen that whilst considering the first one, from the first quarter of next year, we may take the second phase together so that we award both contracts to cover the entire 24.2 kilometers. Thank you.
Very well. We turn to question 1372. Question 1372. Honorable Member for Asin Akroso Manso. I think Honorable Member is not here. We move to question 1374. Question 1374. Honorable Member for Chireponi. Is Chireponi here? Yes. My brother, let's hear you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity given. I rise to ask the Minister for Roads and Highways why contractor of the following roads have abandoned site since July 2021. Chireponi Yende Road and Chireponi Township roads. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Tripoli to Yendi Road connects the district capitals of the Tripoli district of the Northeast region and the Yendi district of the Northern region. The total road length 112 kilometers from Tripoli towards Yendi. The last 12 kilometers forming part of the Eastern Corridor Road, that is from South Piogu to Yendi under the Damango Gwintree Road under Lot 5 and 6 contract is sealed and in good condition. The Sakwebo to Tripoli Road, measuring 100 kilometers, is gravel surfaced and in poor condition. The road has, however, been awarded in 2 lots of 50 kilometers each to 2 contractors under the project titled, and I quote, Mr. Speaker, upgrading of Sakwebo to Tripoli Road, that is the first 50 kilometers as Lot 1, and the second 50 kilometers from kilometer 50 to kilometer 100 as Lot 2. Mr. Speaker, I take the first 50 kilometers, that is the upgrading from Sakwebo to Tripoli Road of length 50 kilometers. The above project commenced on the 15th August 2016 for completion by 15th August 2019. That is within 36 calendar months. The project included construction of roadside drains, culverts, earthworks, and double bituminous surface treatment. Physical progress of work completed estimated at 25%. The contractor has suspended work because of delay in payment for work done. Mr. Speaker, the contractor is awaiting payment for work done to enable him to resume work. Upgrading of Sakwebo to Tripoli Road, the second lot of 50 kilometers. The above project commenced on the 24th November 2016 for completion by 23rd November 2019, also within 36 calendar months. The project included construction of roadside drain, culverts, earthworks, and double bituminous surface treatment. The contractor is currently at site and work is progressing steadily. Physical progress of work completed is estimated at 40%. Tripoli Township Roads. Mr. Speaker, Tripoli is the administrative capital of the Tripoli district of the Northeast region. The Tripoli Township Road network is 7.27 kilometers long with gravel surface in poor condition. Currently, contract for the upgrading of the Tripoli Township Road was awarded in 2 lots, that is Phase 1 and Phase 2. The Speaker, contract for the Phase 1 for the upgrading of the Tripoli Township Road of 4.7 kilometers was awarded on 14th April 2020 with a commencement date of 30th June 2020 and expected completion by 29 December 2020. The contract is funded under the road fund. The contractor has since failed to commence work despite the issuance of warning letters. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter of 2023 if the contractor still refuses to commence the works. Phase 2. Mr. Speaker, contract for the upgrading of Tripoli Town Road Phase 2 of length 2.57 kilometers, was awarded on 20th March 2020 to commence on 8th May 2020 with an expected completion date by 7th November 2021, which has since elapsed. The contract is funded under the Road Fund. Work executed to date include clearing and formation 2.575 kilometers, filling of 2,903 meter cube, 600 millimeter diameter concrete U-drain, 3,684 meters, 900 millimeter diameter concrete U-drain, 1,228 meters, concrete slabs, 580 in number, sub-base 30,375 and base cost 30,000, also 275 meters square. Progress of work is 55% fiscal completion. Mr. Speaker, the contractor stopped work and abandoned site on 21st December 2020 after IPC number 1 was raised. Warning letters have been issued for the contractor to return to site, but no response has been received to date. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract, Mr. Speaker, by the end of the first quarter of 2023, if the contractor still refuses to mobilize to site. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, only one supplementary question, please.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wouldn't have questions much, but I seek your leave to commend the Minister of Road and the Ministry for urgent response to my question the last time I asked by mobilizing the contractor to site to work on part of the portion of the road. But it will interest you to know that, Honorable Minister, the contractor who was mobilized to site has just left site almost 3 weeks today. So I want to still appeal to you. Mr. Speaker, let me use this opportunity again to seek your leave to explain a big portion of the slot 1 and the slot 2 of the Chereponi-Yendi road. When you look at the slot 1, which starts from Sakwego to Brekando, the contractor came to site and worked up to Wapuli, but he failed to, which is part of the 50 kilometers of his stretch. But for the lot 2, the contractor is almost done with the graveling. So for the portion of Wapuli to Sakwego, I appeal to the minister if there can be some urgent solution to those potholes on the road so that people can easily access the road. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister. He is appealing for urgency.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Chereponi road has been problematic, even though not the entire road. Because as I indicated in my answer, the Chereponi-Yendi portion, which falls under the Damango-Bintri Eastern Corridor Road, lots 5 and 6, the contractor will bear with me that that portion has been sealed and has been done and is in excellent condition. The rest of the roads were awarded, but as indicated, they are at various levels of completion. Some portion, the contractors have worked up to 55% physical completion, 40% physical completion, and 25% physical completion. The contractors are three for those three sessions. The Greenhouse International, the Casmida Ventures Limited, and the third one is the Group A Limited. Mr. Speaker, contractors like Casmida Ventures, the D Group A Limited, and the rest, they rush in to come for the jobs. And if all such contractors awarded jobs in this country were to have the required capacity, that push them to put in their bids to undertake constructions of the road, were to carry them out. I believe about 3/4 of roads in our country would have been constructed by now. And colleagues are all witnesses of the behavior of contractors in their respective communities and constituencies. Many roads are awarded, but the contractors are unable to work. Mr. Speaker, even in some instances, I give the opportunity to my own colleagues that if they know contractors who are good standing in their areas and who are prepared and who have the necessary financial resources, to work, they should nominate them. We shall pass them through the necessary procurement processes. Of course, we wouldn't the projects to them on a silver platter, but once they have the capacity to work, if they are recommended by colleagues themselves, we take them on board. And my colleagues are themselves witnesses of how some of these contractors disappoint us after giving them the job. That is why I have said a number of times on this floor that we are going through a process of reclassification, which initially met some resistance from contractors. But I was clear in my mind, Mr. Speaker, of what we are doing in my ministry, and I insisted, and I am carrying it through. And the reclassified contractors their names will be published before the end of the year. Specifically in December, we are going to publish the names of all reclassified contractors, contractors who have proven to have the necessary capacity in terms of equipment, personnel, work knowledge, everything, to undertake road construction from 1st January 2023. And I can assure colleagues and assure the people of this country that from first quarter next year, we will not tolerate any contractor who will come in without proving ability and capacity to undertake road construction. Road construction is a serious business, and it wouldn't be joked with in this country from January next year. And all these problems getting on the pass. And it will be carried out, no matter the difficulties and the resistance anybody would want to put up. I thank you.
We now, from Sherepone, we will come down to Shama. Yes, Honorable Member from Shamas, Honorable Samuel Erickson Abeka, you may take question 1468.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity. I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways the status of the following roads in the Shama district, which were under construction but appear to be abandoned. 1. Shama Junction to Shama. 2. Abwazi to Abuisi. 3. Nyankrum Junction to Nyankrum. 4. Akmenim to Abuteriye. Then 5. Aune Beach to Asamasa, number 1. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Shama Junction to Shama Road is located in the Shama district of the Western region. It links Shama, the district capital, to the National Road N1 at Shama Junction. It is bituminous surface road in Poko. Mr. Speaker, this road has been awarded under the project title Resealing of Shama Junction to Shama Road. That is the first 5 kilometers under Lot 3. The project commenced on 16 September 2019 and was scheduled for completion by 1st October 2020. The time has since elapsed. Physical progress of works completed is estimated at 20.13%. Mr. Speaker, the contractor suspended works because of non-payment of IPCs, but has informed the engineer of his intention to resume work after letters were issued to him to return to site and complete the outstanding works. Abwazi to Abuasi Road. Mr. Speaker, this feeder road is 2.4 kilometers long and located in the Shama district of the Western region. It is an engineered road with bituminous surface in fair condition. The road has been awarded under the contract titled Bitumen Surfacing of Abwazi to Abuasi feeder road of 2.4 kilometers. The contract commenced on 18 September 2020 for completion by 7 September 2021, which has since elapsed. The contractor abandoned site November 2021 after achieving 24% progress. Warning letters have been issued to the contractor to remobilize back to site. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Feeder Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter 2023. Nyankrum Junction to Nyankrum Road. This feeder road is 1.2 kilometers long and located in the Shama district of the Western region. It is an engineered road with fair surface condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, the upgrading of the road, which is feeder road, was packaged under the contract titled Bitumen Surfacing Sport Improvement of Asemasa to Anglo Beach Feeder Road and others, measuring 19.65 kilometers. The contract commenced on 11 March 2016 for completion by 10 March 2017, which has since elapsed. The contractor abandoned site in November 2021 due to delay in payment after achieving 27% physical completion. Mr. Speaker, the contractor failed to return to site after the employer has fulfilled his payment obligation. Warning letters have been issued to the contractor. Works executed to date include clearing of vegetation and road formation 1.2 kilometers, construction of concrete U-drains 872 meters, construction of pipe covers 13 in number. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter of 2020 and package for award. For Apem Menin to Abutari Road, the Speaker, this feeder road is 11.4 kilometers long and located in the Shama and Impoho district of the Western Region. It is an engineered road with gravel surface in fair condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, contract for the upgrading of this feeder road was awarded under the contract title Upgrading to Bitumen Surfacing of Apemani Junction to Abutari Feeder Road, 11.4 kilometers. The Speaker, the contract commenced on 18 September 2020 for completion by 17 September 2021, which has since elapsed. The contractor abandoned site after completion of the site clearing. 2 warning letters have been issued to the contractor, but no response has been received. The Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedure to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter 2023. 5. Angro Beach to Asemasan number 1 road. Mr. Speaker, this feeder road is 10.5 kilometers long and located in the Shama district of the Western Region. It is an engineered road with gravel surface in fair condition. Currently, Mr. Speaker, contract for the bitumen surfacing of the road was packaged under the contract titled Bitumen Surfacing Sport Improvements of Asemasan to Angro Beach Road and others, all measuring 2.65 kilometers. Mr. Speaker, the contract commenced in March 2016 for completion by 10th March 2017, which has since elapsed. The contractor abandoned site in November 2021 due to delay in payment after achieving 27 physical progress. The contractor failed to return to site after the employer had fulfilled his payment obligation. Warning letters have been issued to the contractor. Works executed to date include clearing and formation 10.5 kilometers, excavation to cut 5,436 meter cube, filling 18,655 meter cube, construction of concrete U-drain 3,110 meters, laying of sub-base 1.06 kilometers, and construction of pipe covers 21 in number. Mr. Speaker, the Department of Federal Roads will initiate the necessary contractual procedures to terminate the contract by the end of the first quarter of 2020. I thank you, Mr.
Honorable Beka, this is an elaborate answer. I hope we wouldn't need any supplementary. You are tied, I'm tied.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From the answer, Shama, the district capital, is only 5 kilometers away from N1. And the road, though Honorable Minister acknowledges it's in bad shape, but I would add that it's very bad shape. Very bad shape. And may I then ask Honorable Minister whether, the time frame for which the 5-kilometer road to the district capital would be fixed for the over 120,000 inhabitants of the Shama district, at least to assuage they are paying 5 kilometers from the main Takwadi Accra road to the district capital is in total use. May I have the assurance of the Honourable Minister when this 5 kilometer will be fixed, at least to assuage the pain of the Shema constituents. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honourable Minister. Minister, I guess you are tired. I'm also tired. The owner of the question is also tired. So,
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, from my answer, and I always want my colleagues to advert their minds to that. The contractual relationship is between the contractor and the employer is the government. And yes, as much as in some instances, contractors suffer delayed payment, and it's even not an excuse for them to leave site, because when contractors come for job, per the agreement, they indicate that they have the capacity to execute the job before payment, because payment is always done in arrears. But you can see from my answer that, for instance, Nyakrom Junction to Nyakrom Road and Anglo Beach to Asema Sound number 1, it's clear in my answer that the employer, which is government, has satisfied its payment obligation. All IPCs, that is the interim payment certificates raised by these two contractors, have been paid by government. So it's not a question of non-payment, which is usually the case. There are some other reasons, for not being able to undertake the project. So the only assurance that I can give is that where the contractor is not performing and where it is not due to non-payment, but other problems in terms of capacity building of the contractors to undertake the business or the job, the project, we will have no other alternative but to go through the circuitous process again of procuring a new contractor to undertake that job. But until that is done, I want to assure you and the people of Shama that we shall keep an eye on the 5-kilometer Shama road to make it all-weather motorable for the people. And the most important thing is that to bring permanent solution to it, we must procure a more competent, a more serious, a more capable contractor to undertake that job. Because I know it's an important road because it links up with the district capital. I thank you.
yes, we now take the last question. Honourable Member for Shama, you take the substantive question for 1469. And
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask the Honourable Minister for Roads and Highways the status of the Astok to Saman community roads within the Shama constituency. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
yes, Honourable Minister.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the road network within Asoko to Saman is 1.76 kilometers long and in fair condition. It is located in the Shama district of the Western region. Currently, Mr. Speaker, there is no program on this community road. Engineering design studies will be carried out as we move into the future, Mr. Speaker, on this road by the end of the first quarter of 2023. for consideration under the 2024 budget. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Shama, I'll give you one supplementary question.
This will be an appeal that the Honourable Minister, per his assurances, would implore the feeder roads to put in the necessary checks and balances to ensure that at least this road is captured and adequately attended to. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Yes, Mr. Speaker, as indicated, this is a very short road. I mean, comparatively very short road. It's only 1 kilometers, less than 2 kilometer road. And definitely we are going to work on it within the first quarter of next year, and it will be captured. So once it work on 2023, it will take effect from the ensuing year. But perhaps depending upon availability of funds, once it's a very, very short road, it could be worked on within same year, or if there is any other project going on within the vicinity, we can add it, as evaluation order, to be undertaken even within 2023. This is a very, very short road. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, our uncle, for attending upon the House to answer as many as 10 questions from members. And you've taken time to answer the questions to the extent that every member who brought a question here is satisfied. So, on behalf of the House, I would like to thank you so much that you are always here with us. So today you are hereby discharged. I know next week we have another set of questions to come and answer. So today we thank you and you are hereby discharged. Leadership. I don't need to ask you for anything. We are closing.
Yes, Speaker, as you are aware, a lot has been done for the day, and we are on our way to Ho. We are in your hands, Speaker. Thank you.
Yes, Honorable Peter Nochu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, for a very long time now, there is a bill which has been pending on a GET fund, and it has been advertised today for presentation. Item number 9 on page 8. Number 9 on page 8. I was expecting that the first could be presented and then referred to the appropriate committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I don't know, leadership.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the honorable colleague is right. We have not been able to exhaust all the items on the order paper. And that is part of our job too. Mr. Speaker, leadership was scheduled to meet at 3 o'clock. It's almost 4 o'clock. So I know the rest of our colleagues in leadership are waiting for us to meet after adjournment. So I want to prevail on my brother, who is the ranking member on Committee on Education. I know the bill is very important to members in particular. and therefore, when we come from hope, it will be duly considered. But as the government deputy whip has stated, the Speaker, we are all traveling to the voter region for the post-budget workshop. And it will not be nice for members also to be traveling at night. So as she rightly said, we are in your hands. We can proceed to adjourn, and next week when we come, after the debate, that bill will be considered. It is very important to all of us. So we are in your hands.
Very well. So, Honorable Peter Nuchu, we are not turning you down, but obviously we will come back to this particular bill. Incidentally, the chairman of the committee is also not here. So, like the leader, let's take it on Tuesday when we come. I think we have to do further consultation with the leadership. Yeah. So on Tuesday, we may take this particular bill. So on that note, honorable members, I'll bring today's proceedings to a close. Indeed, it's also the end of the week. I will therefore have to thank all the members, especially those of you who have remained in the chamber. We thank you very much for your cooperation. As the announcement came earlier, we are all heading towards Ho for post-budget workshop. So let's all make it a point to attend. On that note, we are adjourning the House to Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. Tuesday, 10 o'clock in the forenoon. The House stands adjourned.